DCeased Dead Planet issue 5, Tom Taylor writing, Trevor Hairsine on the art. So this, of course, is this is a funny issue for me because I was reading it and there was a great line of dialogue early on, which I tweeted. I'll get to that in a minute, but I was reading this and about halfway through I was like, this is a solid issue as it always is because it's Tom Taylor, he does good work, but it definitely doesn't feel like an issue. It's for me because it's so much more based in the magic side of DC's world. There's a lot of references to the spear they're going for, the spear of destiny or whatever.
I mean, that's not exclusive to DC. That's just a thing.
No, but I'm not into like that sort of mythology. So
yeah,
it's another thing when it comes up. I don't go, oh, it's the spear of destiny. I go, oh yeah, I vaguely have heard of this. Yes, go on.
The spear of destiny, when that show, it's one of those things where I go, oh, okay, we're doing that. Like, it's not an exciting thing to me, but it's such a common mythology thing.
Obviously, this is what inspired the name of it, but I can tell you more about the pick of destiny than I can the spear of destiny. So that's a Tenacious D reference for anyone.
I believe I'm correct in saying the spear of destiny is the thing that it was the spear that they pierced Jesus' side in with when he was on the cross.
All right. Okay.
And so it's the idea that it can hurt a god. That's where that comes from. I believe that's the origin of the spear of destiny, although someone can correct me if I'm wrong.
All right. So if Jesus ever becomes a vampire, you have to make that out of wood. You have to have the spear of wooden destiny to kill him. Is that the rule?
Anyway. I don't know. I mean, to be fair, the spear didn't kill him. It just checked his side to see if he was dead or not, to see if he was still bleeding. That's all.
All right. So it's basically like a glorified thermometer. Then is what you're saying.
Kinda, yeah.
So Constantine's got this plan. There's a whole joke at the start how he's like, Fate can't get into this room. Etrigan's in there, and he's got this plan that he's not telling anyone about. Although I guess I actually realized this. I never actually knew for sure what this was until later on when it mentioned this was Ragman's cloak. Which honestly is a nice little thing because it's like when it does get brought into the plan, like what it's there for, it makes a lot of sense. Why it needs this.
And I think I like this intro and just that this is inside the Tower of Fate. That that Constantine's pulling this shit to Dr. Fate. It kind of gives it an extra layer of bullshittery, right? With him pulling his shit everywhere.
Oh, for sure.
It's kind of fun. And Swamp Thing going along with it is kind of funny.
But, Constantine wants Batman, Damien that is, of course, to form a team to sort of protect his ass as he goes to try and, deal with this, whatever this plan is. And Damien basically refuses to accept unless he tells him what it is. So he does. We don't get to hear it. It's sort of like, we hear him agree to tell him, and that's about it. Although there was like a little beat here that's relevant for later where Damien makes sure you're not planning on killing anyone, and he said no one will die that isn't already dead. That is relevant for later.
And I really like this line because as you read it, you assume he's talking about one of the zombies.
Yes. My favourite line of the book, and my favourite line possibly of the week, is so Damien comes over to what this team is that's assembled, and you got Cassandra there, of course, you got Jason Todd, who doesn't wear the mask anymore, and you got Rose, Ravager. And Damien refers it to Bat Family with Ravager and Swamp Thing, but that's, irrelevant to what I'm saying here. And Jason's like, well, technically, we got married, so she's family too. And Damien's response to this question is, wait, she can sometimes see into the future and she still married you? That line.
That's very good.
I love it so much. But then he's like, oh, happy for you too, blah, blah. You got daddy issues, you'll fit right into the family.
Yeah,
that's
so welcome to the family. You'll fit right in, especially if you brought complex unresolved father issues. She goes, I brought so many.
What I loved I loved this page, and then the story got going, and it was still more tied into like stuff because they get to Nana Parbat, you get Spear of Destiny, you got Deadman, all that, and I love some of these characters. I love Swamp Thing, Deadman's cool, but I was sort of feeling like, okay, this is more about the magic side of DC, so I'm not loving this issue necessarily as much. Some of those character beats and lines are still fantastic, but I'm not as into this as much until it got to a certain beat, and then all of a sudden this issue sort of elevated to like exceptional levels. So when they're going through the Rock of Eternity after getting the spear, which by the way Constantine stabbed what's her face for it,
Rama something,
Krishna.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah. So and she's like, she'll get over it, she'll be fine. Take a couple of centuries maybe, but it's okay. But they're going through the Rock of Eternity, and Freddy, as in Captain Marvel Jr., shows up. I hate calling him Captain Marvel Jr., though, because we have so many other members of the Shazam family that don't have, like, Captain Marvel names, if that makes sense. They only have their real names. You know, you don't have a name for Pedro, you don't have a name for those other characters. But basically, throughout all this, you know, things are getting wacky. They don't know how to quite fight. And there's a moment where the spear's been dropped, and you know, there's something about you know, only the pure of heart can touch it, and Cass is reaching for it, and I'm like, yeah, Cass is pretty pure. Like Cass can touch this thing. And we get a page where lightning goes through her, and she says Shazam, and we get Captain Bat Marvel Cassandra Cain, and it's wonderful.
I really like the collar that shows up on her, because obviously her cape flaps around a lot anyway, but it becomes a full like Captain Marvel style collar. Once the lightning hits her, and I love it.
Yeah, she still has the bat symbol lit up on her belt, but the symbol on her chest becomes the, you know, the lightning bolt style Captain Marvel.
As it should, really. Let's be honest.
Yeah. If anything, though, I'd have been hoping for like the Captain Marvel symbol going through a bat symbol or something. I was like, mix and match. Come on, do some sort of.
I mean, that's
combo.
kind of why they gave you the best of both with the bat on the belt.
Yeah, I guess. Unfortunately, though, well, I retract
unfortunately for Rose, not really for us.
I retract the unfortunate, because I had great fun watching Jason Todd die. Rose has to see it twice because she's in the future, and then actually sees it happen, which is wonderfully tragic. I did love that mechanic of putting her through that. Not that I want her to be in pain, but it's good storytelling.
It is, yeah. That's why they do it, right?
So yeah, they come back. Rose is not happy with Constantine, but the line earlier on that was really important, because Damien says, "You told me no one would die," and Constantine says, "I told you I wouldn't kill anyone who wasn't already dead." And technically,
he's not wrong.
Jason Todd did die, and he even references it, just in case you thought for a second that maybe in this continuity, the whole, even though the fact that he's Red Hood kind of proves that the whole death and return happened, but he does reference it when he's died. He's like, "Hey, I died already. I'm not scared this time."
Yeah, I didn't actually think that was a reference to that exactly, because Constantine didn't kill Jason. I thought it was more a reference to Deadman, actually, where he kind of absorbed him into the Ragman thing. So it was more, well, he was already dead.
Oh well, yeah, I don't think he is. Like, I don't think Deadman's any more dead than he was before. I thought this was a Jason. This was a Jason reference to me.
No, see, I don't think it was, because he didn't kill Jason at any point.
Well, no, it's not. Because Damien says, "I
saw you took Boston Brand." Yeah, it's Deadman.
It was funnier when I thought it was Jason. It was funnier when I thought it was Jason, because he was the casualty. Because he was the casualty on their team, which is why I read it that way.
No, I get why that was in your mind. But yeah, you were wrong.
So I thought this was really funny.
It's still funny.
It's less
still
funny.
Constantine being his usual bullshitting scumbag, and to the point where when Damien earlier was like, "All right, you're going to tell me what the plan is, and you're not going to lie," and Constantine's like, "Oh, you wouldn't know if I lied," and he looks and there's like a panel beat, and he goes, "Shit, you would, wouldn't you?"
You are like your dad was the point, because he asked if you were like are you as good as your father? He's like, yeah, not yet. But then he tries to bluff his way out of that, and then he's like, "No, you are like your old man." Oh well, shit.
Yeah, but I don't know. This was still funny to me.
I mean, it's still funny, but it was funnier when I thought it was Jason, because Jason died and came back.
I get that.
I love the technicality that, well, Jason doesn't count because he already died. That's funny to me.
I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, the Spectre shows up and he's like, "Hey, I'm not too happy with you having that spear there. That can kill me." He's like, yeah, you've got a lot of power. Just, look into, use it into insight, channel into the insight, and tell me what I'm motivated by, or not even tell me, just see what I'm motivated by.
You're the spirit of vengeance. Yeah. Check out what I'm doing it for.
Yeah, and the Spectre just smirks and flies away, and that's the end of the issue. So I think this is a bit more of an uneven issue for me, because I think there's a couple of like the banter early on when it's like Damien and Jason and Cass and all that. I think that stuff's really good. I love Cass. Again, this is them like, okay, Cass just got Captain Marvel powers. This is amazing. And I don't know if it's permanent. It may just be like in the scene because she's holding the thing. But
I think it might be semi Because that's the whole reason why they go there, right? Is to
True.
get the stuff that can give the powers. So
Yeah. I think I called it the Staff of Destiny. It's not the Staff of Destiny. It's the one that's more related to the Shazams.
it's
But
the
you know what I
Spear
mean.
of Destiny is the other one.
The Spear of Destiny. Yes. What's the Shazam one called? Is that just Shazam's the wizard staff? Is that just what that is?
I think it might be. I don't know if it has a particular name.
That's what they're looking for, though. That's what she touches. Too many staffs. There's too many staffs and spears.
I mean, you literally have Constantine holding both of them at the end, facing off the Spectre, just waving these two sticks around.
But yeah. So, but some great high points in here, for sure. And yeah,
I think it's a very consistently solid issue. I think it is definitely a middle issue of a story, and I mean, this is 5 of 7, so it's in that middle section. Was this always 7 issues, or did they expand it at some point?
No, I think it was always 7.
Okay, that's just my memory. I think it's just I expect 6 for minis, so I just assumed, and I kind of noticed on the front of this one that it was 5 of 7. But yeah, it's very much that middle section of the story, kind of setting things up ready for the end game, and I'm very excited for that still.
We give it.
I'm going to give it an 8.
Yeah, I'll give it the 8. I'll give it the 8. Hairsign's art, as per usual for me, is not bad, but occasionally, again, I do think consistently it's been better this series than it was in the first one. But occasionally there'll be a face here or there that I think's a little bit in the weird skinny side, or
sure, yeah. I mean, for whatever reason, Hairsign's art has never bothered me as much as you. I think there's enough style in it that it gets around it, but I get where you're coming from.